Sigils. Everybody loves sigils. They're cool. Anyone can make them. And they're a great focus for your magic. But how exactly do they work? What are the metaphysics of sigils? Hi, I'm Frater Zigmund, and I'm an art magician, queer Hermetic mystic, and conceptual artist working in the medium of religion. I've worked a lot with sigils over the past 2 decades, and I've developed some ideas about how they work. This is all based on my own experience, my own thoughts. I'm just trying to spark discussion, not trying to set the final word on the topic. If you want to see me design a sigil, you can check out the video here. I don't know how to do that yet, but we'll figure it out. Or there'll be a link in the description box. I'm going to make this little guy, so check it out. This conversation is a little more theoretical than practical, so let's get to it. Of course, like, share, subscribe, hit the little notification bell, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. All that fun stuff will really help out the channel. Just getting started here, and let's get going strong. So if you want to hear more about ceremonial magic, mysticism, art magic, all that fun stuff, stay tuned. It's all coming. So the most common method I see for using sigils involves creating the sigil and then deliberately forgetting its meaning. Later on, you perform some kind of working with the sigil and your subconscious decodes the sigil, as it were. The magic is handled behind the scenes, so you just kind of forget about it and let it go. At least in theory, that's how it's supposed to work. I've never had much success with this method. I can't seem to forget what the sigils are that I made. If I need something, if I want something, it's going to be stuck in my head and it's just not going to be forgotten. Disconnecting your desire from the working is a big part of this magic, and I'm not very good at that, to be honest. But I haven't really practiced all that much with it. It doesn't necessarily speak to me as where I am in my practice right now. Needless to say, I still have found ways to make sigils work for me. Regardless, there are certain things about sigils that allow them to act as conduits of manifestation and magical energy, even when their meanings are not forgotten. So sigils speak to us from a very deep place. The use of mystical symbols goes all the way back to prehistory. Our prehistoric ancestors were carving signs into rocks and bones and wood and all kinds of stuff. There's something that really resonates with us as humans about symbols like this. Sigils are a way to connect to a legacy that we all share as a species. It allows us to use symbolic language to point at something that can't necessarily be explained in words. This is a superpower humans have evolved, and with practice and training, you can use it for your own magic. A big part about what makes sigils so useful is that they look cool and they feel magical. Certainly, magical tools and implements are just props, but let me tell you, the right prop, the right tool can really get you into the mindset to do some magic. If you really want to be a person who uses magic, a magical person, you have to think of yourself as a magical person. And part of that sometimes involves having little props, having sigils, having tools, and that's just part of the wizard cosplay, as I say. But it's important, because if you don't believe in yourself, the magic you do is just not going to work. You're going to have a much tougher time having it be effective. But if you go into your workings thinking to yourself, I am a powerful wizard, I am a badass wizard, I can do anything, let's do this, and you're enthusiastic and you're eager, you're going to have a much deeper experience than if you're second guessing yourself and you're telling yourself, oh, I don't know if this is real, I'm just doing this, the book said to do this. And no, just live it, live the fantasy, and your magic will be so much stronger and more potent for it. Sometimes I like to joke around and say that I'm a sexy gay wizard, or I'm a crazy holy man. And on one level, it's just to keep myself from taking myself too seriously. But on the other hand, sometimes those are the archetypes I need to embody in order to work my magic. Sigils are part of the set dressing, something to help steep me into that magical mindset, that magical life. Things in life just hit differently when you're approaching them from the mindset of being a powerful mage. It's completely logical that your magic should work just because you believe it does, but changing your perspective tends to change the way the universe organizes itself around you. I'll have to talk more about this in another video, but for now, believing in yourself, believing in your power, believing in your sigils, it's going to help you a lot in making them work. The last idea I want to talk about in the metaphysics of sigils is a little complex and based on my own interpretation of Platonism. I fully admit that my understanding of Platonism is a little limited. I'm still a student of this very deep wisdom tradition, but I've learned enough to kind of cobble together a beginner metaphysics of how sigils work on a Platonic level. My point of view is always open to change. Whenever new knowledge, new experience comes to me and it makes me change what I believe, that I'm always open to that. We need to do that to become better people so we have a better understanding of the world. So what is Platonism? Platonism is a wisdom tradition that began in ancient Greece started by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. I say philosopher in quotes because, to be honest, it was more of a mystical tradition. Plato wrote a series of dialogues featuring his teacher Socrates, exploring the big questions of the time. How do we live a virtuous life that brings us in harmony with ourselves, the world around us, and the divine eternal realm from which all that is manifest springs forth? Ooh, that was a lot. The world that we live in, move in, interact in, this world, this is the world of becoming, of change and evolution, of beginnings and endings. But all of this, it draws from an eternal world, the divine world that is eternal, that is unchanging, and it consists of greater truths that have their influence on this world. That is the world of being versus becoming. So being is eternal, consistent, unchanging. It's stuff that exists without physicality because physical things change, they grow, they degrade, but the eternal things do not. They don't have a physical form. And so sigils sort of act as a bridge, a conduit between these two realms, the realm of the eternal and the realm of the physical. They act as a pointer where you clump a word or several words together to sort of try to grasp at a greater idea. The words themselves are not the thing they describe, but they help you understand an idea that somebody is trying to communicate to you. Words are a pointer, and sigils take it a step further. They blur the line between the words and something greater, something abstract. I generally make several variations on my sigils, making alterations each time until I feel like I found the sigil. I try not to think about it too much, and I let my intuition guide me to get there. Plato taught in the Phaedrus that there were forms of divine madness, that there were ways that you could enter mind states where you could receive information in a way that was different than your normal senses, in a way that was beyond words, beyond rational thought. This worldview doesn't discount rational and logical thinking, but it doesn't place them at the top of the way to process information the way we kind of do today. Training yourself in logic and rhetoric at the time was only part of the process. Important, but it was only part of the way. You still had to do things, prepare yourself to receive a greater vision of the divine, of the eternal, and have this transcendent experience. So sigils operate in this sort of middle place between the physical world and the world of words, how we describe things, and then this eternal place where things exist and have their influence here on us. They are a bridge to a greater truth that can find manifestation in this physical world. They allow us to tap into something greater and give it a conduit to emanate into this world. So if you display a sigil on your altar, you put it on the background of your phone, whatever, and you remember it, but it's still kind of a constant rememberer. It's sort of like a mystical post-it note that helps you keep focused on your goals. So sigils are a useful and versatile way to direct your magic that can be incredibly personalized to meet the needs of your own practice. They can work on a quiet, subconscious level, or they can be a prominent display of magic. Sigils help us feel like magical people, which goes a long way to making our magic more effective. In my own Platonic interpretation of sigils, they act as a conduit, a bridge between the physical world and the eternal world, and allows those energies, those ideas to come into this world and become manifest. This is really just a beginning discussion on the metaphysics of sigils. I'm sure other people have their own ideas, and I welcome your thoughts in the comments. My own points of view are always changing and evolving, so this is not the final words on this by any means. If only to be shown that I am wrong and I could have a greater understanding of the world. If you want to find me, you can visit my website at fraterzigmund.com, or you can find me at Frater Zigmund on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and a few places. Follow me for more about art magic, ceremonial magic, hermetic spirituality, golden dawn, self-initiation work, all that esoteric stuff from the perspective of a practicing mystic and art magician. Share, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, leave a comment. I'm on YouTube because I want to talk about this stuff, so let's engage. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you all again soon. Bye!